If someone told you that centuries-old villagers in northern China could heat an entire home without burning extra fuel, flipping a switch, or needing a single watt of power, you'd probably raise an eyebrow. But here's the wild part. They did it so efficiently, so consistently, and so intelligently that even in the freezing winds that made World War II soldiers curse the cold, these households stayed warm while using almost nothing. This wasn't luck. This was engineering grit forged by people who knew winter wasn't a season. It was an enemy. Welcome back to Wisdom from the Frontlines. Today, we're digging into one of the most overlooked survival systems on the planet, ancient Chinese heating methods that worked with zero electricity and almost no waste. And trust me, once you hear how they pulled this off, you'll realize modern prepping has barely scratched the surface. Let's get into it. The first secret weapon wasn't fire, it was thermal mass. Villagers in the north understood that heat trapped inside something heavy stays put for hours, so instead of letting their cooking fire's warmth escape into the sky, they built homes that worked like giant heat batteries. One of the smartest designs was the hollow wall system. Builders created thick brick walls with internal channels connected directly to the kitchen stove. Every time someone cooked, the leftover heat traveled through those hidden pathways. The bricks sucked up the warmth like thirsty sponges, then slowly released it long after the fire went out. No extra wood, no separate heating system. The home literally lived on the leftovers. Modern engineers would call this heat recycling. Villagers just called it surviving winter. Then there was the two-room fire technique, a move so intelligent it almost feels unfair. The stove was placed right against a dividing wall. Cook a meal on one side, and the wall itself heated up on the other. Thick masonry held the warmth, pushing gentle, radiant heat into the living space. One fire. 2 rooms heated. Maximum efficiency with minimum effort. If you've ever wished your cabin or off-grid shelter could warm itself without twice the fuel, this old-world trick belongs in your playbook. But the real crown jewel of ancient heating? The heated platform. A stone or brick bench with smoke channels running underneath. This wasn't just warm, it was deep, core-level warmth. Families sat, worked, and slept on these platforms through brutal winters. The smoke moved slowly, warming the stone slab before drifting out through a chimney. Once heated, that massive block radiated for hours. Even after the flames died, the platform kept glowing with stored heat. It was comfort engineered by people who understood one truth: warm the mass, and the mass warms you. Modern survivalists talk about efficiency like it's a revelation. These villagers mastered it before electricity even existed. Another forgotten invention was the heated table. Builders connected smoke flues beneath wooden tables, letting the passing warmth turn them into cozy workstations. You could prep food, sew clothing, repair gear, or plan tomorrow's chores with steady heat flowing into your hands and arms. No extra firewood, no extra stress, just perfect reuse of the same fire that cooked dinner. Speaking of reuse, let's talk about the massive stone heater, an early ancestor of today's masonry heaters. Families lit a small fire in its chamber, just long enough for the stone body to absorb heat. Once loaded, it radiated warmth through the entire night. A short burn gave a long reward, and people slept in silence, wrapped in the slow heartbeat of stored heat. That's the kind of tech that turns a freezing shelter into a sanctuary. Before all these complex channels and platforms, the earliest warm home solution was the sunken fire pit, built right into the floor. These pits weren't random campfires dragged indoors. They had airflow, heat-holding walls, and controlled burn points. The fire sat low, meaning heat stayed where the body needed it most. Families gathered around, warming hands, feet, and stories. For thousands of years, this was winter survival at its rawest form. But the innovation didn't stop with flames. Long before solar heating became a buzzword, ancient Chinese builders were already making south-facing sunrooms. Glass or translucent panels trapped sunlight during winter days, turning those spaces into natural heat collectors. Warm air drifted into the house while floors and walls absorbed solar energy, releasing it after sunset. A free, passive, zero-maintenance heating system built centuries before solar panels were a thing. And if you think portable heat packs are a modern trick, well, think again. Villagers heated stones in the fire, wrapped them in cloth or leather, and tucked them into beds or between layers of clothing. Those rocks held warmth for hours, honestly becoming the ancient version of reusable hot water bottles. Soldiers used them. Travelers relied on them. Families trusted them. Zero power, zero danger, maximum warmth. Even chimneys weren't wasted. Builders stacked ceramic tubes through living spaces, letting rising smoke heat the clay. The chimney itself became a radiant heater, warming rooms long after the flame died. Travelers during harsh winters described inns where you could feel the warmth well past midnight, thanks to these clay towers glowing with stored heat. One more system proves how ahead of the curve this engineering really was. Underfloor heating. Yes, primitive radiant floors existed centuries ago. Builders placed heated stones, warm sand, or smoke channels beneath the floor to warm it from below. Comfortable, efficient, long-lasting warmth spread upward through the room. Modern luxury homes brag about heated floors. Ancient villagers were already walking on them. These systems weren't accidents. They were the result of generations fighting winter and winning with intelligence, not electricity. And in a world where modern grids can fail, fuel can disappear, and cold still kills, these old solutions matter more than ever. If you want more forgotten tactics, more iron-tested survival wisdom, and more real lessons from history's harshest front lines, make sure you subscribe to Wisdom from the Frontlines. Share this with someone who loves uncovering the old knowledge that still outperforms modern gear. Survival isn't new, it's rediscovered.